Hello and welcome to another Eurogamer Next-Gen News Cast. This is episode number 9. It is the 11th of December 2020 and it is Cyberpunk launch week and the Game Awards week. So there's a huge amount for us to talk to. Really exciting, loads of news, loads of reveals, loads of trailers and loads of drama, which is good for us on the Next Gen Newscast. I am once again joined by Eurogamer reporter Emma Kent.
Hello.
And Eurogamer news editor Tom Phillips. We are a little bit sleepy today because, well, I am anyway, because we covered the Game Awards last night, last morning. And for us in the UK, that meant working until 3 a.m. at the least. I mean, that's when the show ended. We didn't quite finish then. We finished a little bit after. The pre-show began at 11:30. So that was a good 4 hours of Game Awards coverage from the three of us. And I don't know about you, but I feel like this might not be happening. I might be in a dream. It could be an hallucination at this point. Are you two even real? Are you real?
Is this actually just another trailer for Arc 2?
Arc 2, I will get onto that. But as is Eurogamer Next-Gen Newscast tradition, we go round and ask what we've been playing. I've got a funny feeling, Emma, that you've been playing Cyberpunk.
How did you guess?
It's a new indie game from a little-known studio out of Poland, punching above its weight.
Yeah, you might have heard of it. I don't know.
Oh my God, where to even start? Let's start with what you think about it. What do you think about Cyberpunk?
It's growing on me. I think when I first kind of started it, I was a bit like, I'm feeling a bit lost in this world. It throws a lot at you, and that's kind of just what happens because it's this enormous cyberpunk city, and everyone's talking in weird slang, and you're like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know about you
gonk.
Guys. Yeah, exactly. Chumbas. Yeah. But you kind of got to just let it wash over you, and eventually it makes sense, which is basically how I handle any kind of cyberpunk thing. And I'm like, okay, right, it'll make sense in like a few hours.
Talking to me and Tom every morning.
Yeah. Yeah, when Destiny gets brought up again.
Yeah. Tom, are you playing it? Have you? Because I know you've got it downloaded on your Series X, right?
I started a little later than Emma because I think my download speed's just rubbish. I played a little bit last night. Obviously, there were other things to do last night instead of just playing Cyberpunk. So I didn't get as far as I'd like, but I got through the opening bit. I'm playing as a nomad, so I started out in the Badlands area. I'm kind of curious how much that really changes things and how much, apart from that sort of early bit, I got that, you get a certain way through the prologue and then it's like, anyway, 6 months later, and then it kind of picks up, I'm guessing, exactly the same place.
I think they all do that. I've only played Corvo. Is it? No, Corpo.
Who's
Corvo? Corpo and the Street Rat, is it? It's called? I can't remember.
Street Kid one.
Street Kid.
Street Rat is Aladdin. You've been watching too much Disney, my friend.
Oh yeah, well, but they both do that. So yeah, sounds. I think the things you get. They all do.
Yeah, you get special dialogue options related to your background later on. So I was just dealing with a situation in like a hotel foyer, and I was able to like pull out my corpo knowledge and be like, "Shut up, listen to what I'm saying." I know my way around here. So I don't know if that would have been more awkward if I hadn't taken the corpo option.
Right. Yeah.
It's very nice. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and it's clearly an enormous world, with which I've only just scratched the surface. It doesn't look as good as I expected on Series X. And I think that's the same on PlayStation 5 as well, right?
Isn't it? It's back and pat. This isn't the next gen console version we're playing. They're going to release that later. Which
is true, and yet it's still disappointing. Well, because like every time that we've seen this game, pretty much over the many 13 years or however long it's been since it was announced, it's looked better than it has now. And
well, that's because we've seen it on high-end PCs. That's why.
yeah, and so the expectation is with every other game you come out and buy the next gen version, and that looks the same as it looks pretty much the same as PCs.
It's not the next gen version.
I know, but you and I know that. But
well, we're here to tell the people, Tom, that you are not playing a next gen game on your PS5 and your Xbox Series X right now.
It could be worse. You could be playing it on base Xbox One,
Right, yeah. Well, this is the thing, right? So Chris Tapsell wrote, I think, a fantastic review of the game that's on Eurogamer right now. And I think my early impression of it, I'm only like 5 hours in at this point. I snuck some playtime in before the Game Awards. You bet I did. Is very much along the sort of lines that he's talking about. I love the world, and the atmosphere, but it's got some problems, and these problems are of the technical variety. And we did a story on the day that the game came out about how it was looking on PS4, base PS4, which I played for a bit to get a sense of what it was like, and Xbox One. And holy shit, is that game a mess on those consoles. I mean, let's just forget about glitches and bugs. Yeah, like we've all had those. I think we can all talk about what we've experienced. I've experienced loads of like T-posing and clipping and all the rest of it. But those games, like the frame rate in those of the game on those consoles can be awful, almost unplayable, and the resolution is really low, which they've obviously desperately tried to get the game to a playable state, and they've had to sacrifice resolution. But I don't know, like it feels like a game that shouldn't have come out to me on those consoles. I mean, PC, I get it, high-end PC, the game looks incredible right now. Do you think that they should have delayed it, Emma?
Yeah, I think they should have a while back said we're just going to do this on next-gen consoles and PC and release it sometime in like late 2021 or 2022. I feel like at the point where they were delaying it several times, like this year, it was probably a bit late for that. I think they'd already kind of committed that they were going to release it on these consoles and try and get it for the Christmas period. But I think they should have made a decision a while back to just say that we'll just take another year or so and maybe ditch those like base consoles because they're really struggling.
Yeah, I mean, it may be that there is a recovery job possible on PS4 and Xbox One, but like the damage, like the narrative is there, the memes are here. Like people are saying, like jokingly comparing it to Doom, like the original Doom on Xbox One, and it's hard to see how that game is going to recover on those consoles. Apparently, it's not great on PS4 Pro either. And I'm playing it on PS5, and it's sort of smooth. It's okay, but it still has issues. And forget about frame rate and resolution. The game is glitchy and buggy as hell, right? Like, I don't know what kind of bugs you've run into, Emma.
Well, I've had someone just kind of spawn in the air and then scream and splat right next to me on the floor. Like
that wasn't a bug. That's just
I mean,
just
it might
life.
have been a very dark, yeah. Oh god, yeah. No, well, that was one. I haven't had some of the kind of more severe bugs that people have seen with, like cars flying up in the air and people like T-posing.
Oh, I've had T-posing.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was so funny. In the early part of the game, you go into the nightclub to meet Jackie. This isn't a spoiler. This is like an hour in, if that. And it's like this really cool cyberpunky nightclub. And you can hear the music. It's like this like heavy beat synth stuff. It's like, and everyone's really moody, smoking indoors, which is all sorts of bad. And there's just this woman who's standing in a T-pose, like inside a table, like she's like glitched into a table, and over at the top, overlooking everyone on the dance floor below. And it's just like this is the whole cool feeling of this has been completely undermined. And what's best is you can go up to her and still talk to her.
Oh, no.
And she'll be like, fuck off. But her mouth isn't moving. It's so funny. It's really good. Oh, it's
Maybe it's
almost
just
good.
a really futuristic dance move. You know, you wouldn't
Yeah.
understand it.
No, I'm too old. But yeah, but you know what? Despite the bugs and the performance issues, it's got its claws into me. You know, like I'm thinking about it when I'm not playing it, which is always a good sign. And like I want to play it. Like even now, as we're talking about it, I'm like I want to go back into that world and just explore and see what's in the alleys and stuff. There's something about it that is, I think, special. Tom, do you feel like that? Do you feel that the pull, or are you just playing it out of a morbid curiosity at this point?
I hope I do feel that pull. I just haven't got that far into it yet. And yeah, like I mentioned, it doesn't look maybe as good as I expected it to on Series X, but it looks a lot better than it does on other platforms, and it will continue to get better. And there are lots of tips out there, like turning off film grain immediately makes it look, like I said, a bump in resolution, which I would definitely recommend to anyone playing on next-gen consoles. I just worry, you mentioned like last gen, how will it improve? I think it's really technically limited as to how much it can improve on those platforms. So it's a really odd, and I think Chris handled it brilliantly in his review on Eurogamer. This incredibly interesting, exciting world that's obviously taken a decade to put together, released at the end of a console generation that's kind of hampered what it can do on, a way that a lot of people are going to play this game. And it is frustrating to see that a really good game is struggling this way. And you could say, well, maybe they should have delayed it, but I just don't know. Even in a year, if PS4
Emma,
is going to be able to make it look better.
What Emma is saying, like, can it? Like, if I bought it for Xbox One, this is a product that's sold for full price in a shop. I'm a customer. If I put that in my console and try to play it, I'd return it. I'd be like, this doesn't work. Like,
So why didn't they cancel it? Is it like when did they open pre-orders for this game? They announced this week. CDPR announced 8 million pre-orders. That's an astonishing amount of pre-orders, and that's accumulated over a long period of time. If you do say, okay, guys, you know what, it's not going to look great on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. We're not going to release it for those platforms. We don't think it's good enough. We're just going to release it for PS5 and Xbox Series X. Maybe now, maybe later. You lose all those pre-orders. That is a really difficult business decision to make, and I'm not surprised they didn't make it. But the reality is this now.
This is the reality, yeah.
I don't know how much better it's going to get.
I think CD Projekt has made, like, clearly, from the outside looking in, a series of very troubling, bad decisions regarding Cyberpunk. And it's not just to do with, like, not canning the last gen version. Like, we all know about the horrible stories around crunch around that studio. We've all seen the messages that the bosses have sent to staff about basically just desperately trying to get this game out, and people having to sacrifice their lives for it. We all know about the impact this can have, and I don't care if they're making money out of this. The staff are going to get extra money or anything like that. The impact of crunching on this game will have been horrendous. And what I feel for is the people desperately tried to make this game work when it was delayed, to try and get it to work on last gen. And they must have thought it's just not, these aren't stupid people. Look, the game is clearly a technical marvel on a great sort of like on a level, on a PC sort of level. Like, the job to make it work, like, it just must have been one of the most crushing tasks, knowing that you were like almost killing yourself trying to get this game to work on consoles that can't do it, knowing full well it's not going to work probably in the time they had, or maybe ever, and it comes out and then everyone shits on it because of it. You must be like, you're just, it must be awful for them, like, at the moment, because of that. And this is what people are talking about. People are talking about the game and it being good in many ways, but really a lot of people are just talking about how it doesn't work.
Or it gives you epilepsy.
Oh God, yeah. Well, this is another thing, isn't it? Like, CD Projekt making bad decisions.
There's a sense that a lot of stuff's been rushed through, and then now they're kind of having to pick up the pieces, because not only did that kind of get missed, but also the streaming mode turns out that doesn't work, because a load of the tracks on that will get you DMCA strikes, you know.
Crazy.
So they're having to tell people to turn off sound to stream it.
Absolutely crazy. Like, the epilepsy story is one of the more troubling ones I've seen in all my time covering video games. Like, the idea that the brain dance feature can come without a warning. Like, forget that, they put it in the game. I don't think anyone at CD Projekt is setting out to give anyone an epileptic fit.
No, of course not.
It's just,
it's just a bit careless. Yeah.
It's just negligence. But to not have a warning is so dangerous, so dangerous. You turn your PlayStation on and the PlayStation boots, and it says, there is an epilepsy warning, in baked into the console. But there's nothing on PC. There's nothing in the game itself. There wasn't in the game before this happened itself. There is now, I believe, on the PC version, and I'm sure it will come to the console version. But just how that slipped through, it just makes me feel like, the whole thing came crashing down to earth towards the end, like, just one, like, yes, they've survived the landing, but they're never getting back in that spaceship again. Like, it's just complete wreck. And
it sounds like you watched SpaceX this week.
I did, yeah. I saw people cheering a rocket explode. I didn't get it. So
it was they got all the data they needed, Wes.
Right, yeah. Well, I'm sure some at CD Projekt saying that right now. One of the things I think is interesting is whether all of this is going to impact on the success of the game. And I'm not sure it will, because some of the stuff that's come out about how it's done so far in just one day has completely, like, blown me away. Like, I've never seen anything like it. This game had over 1 million concurrent players on Steam on launch day, making it that's the highest number of concurrents for any single player game ever on Steam. More than double the second place, which was Fallout 4. It's astronomically popular. You said 8 million pre-orders. Before they even launched the game, they'd sold 8 million copies. Like, I would be surprised if they've doubled that already. Probably more. It's all everyone's talking about. It's all over. Like, there's a story about it on mainstream media. BBC had a story about it on launch day. Like, this feels like the biggest game to me since GTA 5. And yes, they're getting hammered for the technical issues right now, but I don't see anything stopping this. I don't know if you think it's going to be any way harmed at all, Emma.
No, and I think CDPR will continue kind of patching it and fixing it, because The Witcher 3, as we know, kind of came out pretty buggy as well at launch, and it's still doing pretty well for CD Projekt, like many years on. And yeah, no, Cyberpunk has just become this enormous hype machine, which I don't know. I think maybe the technical problems will kind of be in the media for a little bit, but then hopefully CDPR will kind of get a handle on it a little bit and can kind of move the narrative on. And if they're developing a multiplayer mode as well, then that will probably give it a boost as well, if that comes through.
Well, I think we're all kind of not all of us, but a lot of us are sort of waiting for this next-gen console update, right? Which is going to be like round 2 of this game. And, I can't, I'm sure it will look amazing on PS5 and Xbox Series X once they do that, and hopefully run well. So this game is just going to run on and on. They've already said that, DLC is coming out early next year. Like, it just feels like Cyberpunk is just the biggest thing in games to happen in a long time. I don't know if, like, maybe, feels to me like, in terms of conversation at least, maybe since Fortnite, like, in terms of like dominating conversation and like catching some mainstream media attention. I'm not saying it's bigger than Fortnite or anything, but it's just all encompassing. Speaking of Cyberpunk, it was at the Game Awards in the form of Keanu Reeves presenting an award. I can't even remember what he presented the award for. But that man, I think, is getting younger. I don't know what his secret is, but he's just
Benjamin Button thing going on.
he is a special man.
He had grey beard hairs.
And yet,
so
yeah, so do I. But I ain't looking like Keanu Reeves, mate.
I think you're both looking a little old.
Oh, so you're saying we're the same? That's sweet of you. The Game Awards then. 3.5 hours of awards plus world premieres plus advertisements plus anti-vaping messaging. Emma, what did you think of the show overall? Did you enjoy it?
I mean, I always get like a really weird view of these shows because I kind of half watch them because I'm normally like writing the rest of the time. Yeah, it was all right. Yeah. I don't know. There are awards and there are some.
Are
some
you upset
reveals
that Hades didn't win anything?
Well, I think Hades should have won, best game, but whatever. I think Hades did win some stuff. It got like best indie, and I think there was something else as well. But
I mean, it should have won best game. Let's be honest.
Yeah, a tragedy. But anyway,
Tom, are you a fan
of Hades
Game
or the Game
Awards?
Awards?
The Game Awards. Game Awards. Did you think it was a good show?
I thought actually, I mean, we wrote 30 odd stories out of it. I care about it for news. I don't give a crap about the awards. So who wins, who loses, it really doesn't matter to me. I don't pretend to care about the awards beforehand, so I'm not going to try and express an opinion that certain games should have won certain things. Like they are what they are. It was a really good night for news and trailers. I think we saw some really cool things. There was a good mix of stuff, AAA, indie, everything from BioWare down to Annapurna, and just really weird things in between. Like the Cyberpunk car turning up in Forza, or Fast and the Furious prehistoric drift, or just like bizarre things. And I like that it exists. I don't particularly enjoy staring at Jeff Keighley's face for 3.5 hours like every December, but like it kind of caps off the year and also propels everything forward to the next one. And at the end of it, I was thinking, A, I'm really tired, but B, we got a lot of stuff to look forward to. My only complaint is that some of those things are quite a long way away still. I'm still not entirely sure what we're going to get from a bunch of big publishers and platform holders in 2021, but down the line, eventually, there is some cool stuff coming.
Okay, well, let's pick at that thread, since I can tell you're still thinking about BioWare. I know that's what you're talking about. BioWare showed off. Right, I love BioWare. I love Mass Effect and I love Dragon Age. But the Mass Effect trailer they put out and the Dragon Age trailer they put out yesterday at the Game Awards, they were shit. I'm sorry, they did not tell me anything about these games really that I didn't already know.
I fundamentally disagree with you on those points.
That's all right. That's because you're a massive nerd, but we'll get to that. But like they were just like little teasers for games that I do not think are coming out for years. Like, and I'm like,
that is true.
What is the point? Like, I know Dragon Age is coming out. I know Mass Effect is coming out. Like, what, why did we have to have these trailers? Like, to remind us these games exist? Like, and I know you got some like, lore Mass Effect like snippet out of, the trailer. And I'm sure you got a kick out of seeing Solus in the Dragon Age thing. But these are two like very brief CGI teaser things for games that aren't coming out for years. We already knew were in the works. It wasn't like they're making a new Dragon Age or new Mass Effect revealed. I just felt it was like it was annoying more than anything.
I said this last night.
Why did you love it? Go on.
You will remember, like in our chat last night, I like when I realized it was Mass Effect, I was like, I can't believe they're doing this. As a fan, I love to see it. I genuinely felt pretty crap after Andromeda got like review bombed, and I think it had a very rough ride. It wasn't a particularly amazing game. It was average, and people expected up here, and they got down here. But this is bad, you know. It was just anyway. I was still surprised that they dropped the Mass Effect thing last night, because that game is still years away. It's coming after Dragon Age, which is also years away. Dragon Age is not a 21 game, and it is sort of, it's just the reason that they do it though is because, like we said earlier with the Cyberpunk stuff, I know this, you know this, we know these games are coming. Like those fan bases are enormous and perpetual, which is why they do things like N7 Day, Dragon Age Day every year to keep those fan bases going. There are people who like genuinely these franchises are big parts of their lives, and they may not know that in a tweet they've released some concept art for the next Mass Effect. Maybe they do, but like for them, that trailer is a really cool thing to see. The thing that frustrated me was, I think I would look at that trailer and think, maybe that game is like 18 months away, and it's not. And I think that sets a level of expectation, which then leads to frustration down the line, and that can also lead to frustration at the developers. So I personally was surprised to see the Mass Effect thing this far out. Now, there were various things that you could glean from that information, which was interesting that they put out this far ahead of time. You're smiling, but like confirmation that it includes Milky Way stuff after the franchise tried and failed a completely different setting is a real admission of where they see the future of Mass Effect. And I think where they also failed trying to make a different future of Mass Effect previously. You can tell the story and the setting, and I won't go into all of that, but like, that's a big deal. And I think.
And Liara is back. Are we thinking this is Liara?
Yeah, 100% that's Liara. Yeah. And that's a big deal too.
Look, you know me, I'm being a dick. Like, I love Mass Effect, and you know that I was like, what does this mean, Tom? Tell me. So I'm with you. I just feel like it's too. I'm all for like announce a game and it comes out in a reasonable period, like not like Cyberpunk was announced in 2012. 8 years.
I think they did. The difference there is I think they did intend to release that a little sooner than 2020.
Well, but it was still miles away when they announced it.
It was too far out. Like, I think with Mass Effect you could make the argument that there was an expectation or a fear, I should say, among some fans that really was that was Mass Effect was dead after Andromeda. So I think like, okay, you get away with this one, and it really was a nice trailer, and it really did tell us a few interesting things. But like, I really would prefer now, just after that admission, come back N7 Day, November 7th, 2021. I don't want to hear anything till then. Just work on the game and make it really great. I'm sure they will. There's a huge level of expectation and like a bar that they know they have to meet for fans now. Just don't talk about it again for a bit, please.
Okay, Emma, you can engage again now that the boys have stopped talking about BioWare. What was your highlight of the Game Awards? What as a fan? Like, what was your?
I wasn't really bothered by anything, to be honest.
Savage. Like absolutely savage.
There was nothing that I was like, whoa, I'm really hyped about that. There were some indie games that I thought looked nice, like Season. But yeah, and
you were just upset that the Game Awards were taking you away from playing Cyberpunk.
A little bit salty about
that. Nothing really. Was you thought, oh shit, that looks cool.
It's quite hard. I don't know. I find it hard to get like really hyped about trailers and stuff like that. I don't know what's wrong with me, but like
there was gameplay in the show. Fair few games did show off, even if it was just like snippets of gameplay in a trailer that had other things going on. There were, only BioWare really being douchebags about it. So I think
and Perfect Dark.
Oh god, Perfect Dark. Well, let's talk about Perfect Dark. Holy shit! So Microsoft is bringing Perfect Dark back. which is pretty incredible. It's been dormant for a long time. This is a game that's dear to my heart as someone who played N64 back in the day, and as a big Rare fan, this is like peak Rare, right? It's what we know them for, the sort of N64 work. And Rare isn't making it. The initiative is. Now, Tom, I don't know if everyone will know what the initiative is. So
yeah,
what is it?
They haven't made a game before. It's a relatively new outfit. I tried to stop saying new because they were actually founded back in 2018, which is a considerable amount of time ago now. They're founded in Santa Monica, headed up by Daryl Gallagher, used to work at Crystal Dynamics, veteran team there that Microsoft has built together. I believe at one point they may have horrifically used the term quadruple A to describe the studio, which is just...
That just sounds like a scream to me, like
like it's a big, talented team of developers that is being put together from the ground up to make this new project. It's been in the works a little while. It's been cooking for a little bit. I think there was some rumors about exactly to what level it would be a perfect dark game. They've come out and said it's a perfect dark game now.
No going back now.
There's no going back now. I'm hyped. I think it looks great from what we saw of the cinematic trailer last night.
We saw nothing, Tom.
We saw a vision, I think that vision looks cool.
Well, I'm having a vision now, mate, and it's not perfect dark.
I don't like.
We didn't even see Joanna Dark. We didn't even see her.
You saw her silhouette.
Yeah, we didn't see Joanna Dark at all.
There were some people last night saying, "Oh, I can't believe they're just trying to reinvigorate an old franchise that's been dead for over a decade," and I don't really agree with that.
Isn't that what people want, though?
Surely it's better to do that than to kind of, I don't know, drag a franchise out all the time. I don't know. It's like,
yeah, they can't win. Like if they make it a direct copy of the originals, people will be like, "Oh, what's new here?" And if they take their own license with it, which I hope they do. Basically call it Perfect Dark and have Joanna Dark in it and make it like spies and futuristic shooting. Great. Have fun with it and, create a vision of that franchise for next gen consoles, which you couldn't do 20 years ago. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm really curious to see how this one looks like. Just what kind of game it is, because we know so little. Like the original is basically GoldenEye sci-fi. So apart from being a first-person shooter, it'd be interesting to know what it's about. Emma, nothing. Still nothing.
No.
The Annapurna game looked great.
Which one was that again?
It was like
actually, I remember on this one. I remember on this one. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, it was Fulbright Company, the people behind Tacoma and Gone Home, and it was like if you put all of the ingredients of those games together to make a new game with some Hollywood actresses as voice talent, then it would look a lot like how you'd expect. Yeah, there was some cool stuff.
All right, well let's talk about something I know we all saw because it was so batshit, and that is Vin Diesel. Now. This trailer, right? We all saw this, yeah. We can talk about this.
That made my night.
Vin
that was the best bit.
It was clearly Vin Diesel, yeah, but we didn't know what game it was for ages. It felt like this trailer was going on for 5 minutes at least, with Vin Diesel sort of grunting through it, fighting dinosaurs and other beastie creature people, protecting maybe his character's kid in the game. I have no idea. And then people were going, is this Horizon 2? Have they got Vin Diesel for Horizon 2? Because it sort of looked a bit like that. I had absolutely no idea what game this was. And it kept on going, and it sort of looked a little janky.
I thought it looked like Turok.
It could have been Turok. Could have been anything, let's be honest. And then at the end, Arc 2. Starring Vin Diesel. Okay. I guess that's the thing. And then I'm like reeling. And then, oh yeah. And there's an animated film for Ark. and it's got like the most incredible cast you've ever seen
It's
in your life.
ridiculous. Like David Tennant. Who else is
Yeah,
there?
Russell fucking Crowe is in the Ark cartoon. It's
That was the
crazy.
point at which I was like, "Am I hallucinating now?"
Is this real? Yeah.
I wish I can find the cast list. It's like better than most Hollywood films.
It is. It's incredible. And Vin Diesel is in it, obviously. Like they've got Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel's all in on Ark right now. Like here's
Gerard Butler, Michelle Yeoh, Elliot
Michelle
Page.
Yeoh. Crazy. So yeah, like this. I think this was almost the best and worst bit of the Game Awards because it was at least it was memorable. Like I'm never going to forget it. It's like
it was a real ride. What a journey!
So weird. And of course, we know nothing about this game. You know, like we haven't seen any gameplay. We don't know what kind of game this is going to be. Really, I suppose it's going to be a bit like Ark, but hopefully better.
No, it's like Ark but worse, Wes.
Well, who knows? But yeah, I just thought this was like I'll never forget that. It was so funny. Like that trailer went on for so long, and it reminded me that you know those really ridiculous adverts that go on for ages that are really emotional, and they've got like this little folk tune playing, and you know maybe a kid who's lost a toy and someone helps find it, and then at the end it's like, "Buy, Sill It, Bang." You're like, what the hell is going on? It was just so funny. I'm really curious to see it though. And that animated movie, Christ, Russell Crowe. Yeah, Game Awards.
Are they always? This is why I like it. They always bring out something that you just don't expect, and I like it for that. It's a nice variety show of weird video
weirdness.
game.
There's always like a wild card in there.
Yeah, didn't they have a Muppet? I tuned out for that bit.
Yeah, I did try and explain to you what Swedish Chef was, and I don't think you understood.
No. Speaking of things we didn't expect, I see people have things to say about Smash Brothers again, because the new character coming to the game is Sephiroth from Final Fantasy.
That well-known Nintendo character.
Now, Tom, can you explain to me why you're upset at this?
Yeah, you seem really salty. I just
Look, I admit that I lost the battle a long time ago when it comes to Smash Brothers, including characters which have at least some tangential relation to Nintendo. I mean, it's just a crossover event at this point. And Sephiroth, really? I mean, this is like, it was going to be a crossover character. I don't think anyone was really expecting it to be Waluigi or Birdo.
Why can't it be a Nintendo character?
Okay, so business reasons, I just think that you're selling a season pass to as wide an audience as possible. Nintendo fans already have your base game. You're going to try and grow the audience of the game within it. That is the really boring answer, but I think it's probably the most accurate reason. And Sephiroth is a really popular character from one of the biggest games franchises in the world, right? It's just annoying to me because Smash Brothers already has a Final Fantasy character in it, and just more of the same is a bit.
Personally, I think they should add more Fire Emblem characters.
Well, they've got a Final Fantasy character coming to the Fire Emblem fighting game now, so that's quite fun.
They're all moving around between the games. Oh.
I was expecting it to be Jonesy from Fortnite, but I'm becoming less certain that Fortnite is going to be allowed to have like the most famous bounty hunter in video games in their bounty hunter season. I think it would have probably been announced last night if Metroid was there. I can imagine Nintendo being like, well, people are still waiting for Samus in Metro Prime 4 that we announced like half a decade ago, so we won't put her in Fortnite because people will just get grumpy that she's in Fortnite before they can actually play her in her own game. But it would have been cool.
Happening with Master Chief.
Well, yeah. Do you think tangent? But do you think that Halo Infinite will still release on Xbox One in autumn 2021? Have they said that it will?
Yeah. They haven't said it won't.
I was just thinking of the Cyberpunk situation and how bad that game looks on base consoles, and just thinking, are we going to be sitting here in 12 months' time talking about how maybe Microsoft shouldn't have released the last gen version of Halo Infinite? But anyway.
I think the answer to that is yes.
Yes, because there's a huge audience there, and that's the business argument, which is boring but probably the most accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a couple of years yet before publishers are leaving last gen behind. I think it's just especially PlayStation, the install base is just astronomical at this point. You can't really do without it. Emma, still nothing? Got nothing?
Just thinking, yeah.
Nothing.
Among
what
Us
about
remap.
the Callisto Protocol? The Callisto Protocol.
I mean, it looks good. But I'm also terrified of horror games. I really can't play them. Like.
Okay, right. Well, so this is one of the, to be fair, this is one of the more eye-catching announcements of the show. What was this game? Tell us what this game is.
Basically, it's a kind of survival space horror game, and players have to like escape from like a maximum security prison. It's being made by Striking Distance Studios, which is owned by like Crafton Group, and apparently this is part of like the PUBG universe. Like, so
Crafton own PUBG.
Yeah, and like the studio Striking Distance is like part of that group.
Right. Yeah, so it's a Dead Space spiritual successor made by some of the creators of the original Dead Space.
Yeah. So Glenn Schofield
is set in the PUBG universe.
Yeah. So Glenn Schofield moved to kind of like helm Striking Distance. So obviously he was like executive producer on Dead Space with Sledgehammer. So it basically is like more Dead Space, but kind of in like, I don't know, a different PUBG universe.
Right. So PUBG, you know, to me, I don't play it, but it's like this semi-realistic war-torn Earth battlefield, I'm guessing. When was there like space lore?
Never. I guess if you put it on Jupiter Moon, like no one's gonna go check. You can't see that.
That's okay. I think Jupiter is outside of the zone, so you can't go there in PUBG. Was there anything, Emma, as a PUBG, not PUBG fan, last night, was there anything in that trailer at all that tied it to like the PUBG lore that you know?
Well, to be fair, I'm not really sure there is much lore, but well, there probably is, but
they're trying.
They're trying,
Bless
Emma.
them, they're trying.
They're trying.
I can't really say I keep that close an eye on it, but I couldn't really see anything obvious in that trailer.
Yeah. I mean, let's just go with it's the spiritual successor to Dead Space.
I think that's more
and that's exciting, and let's leave it at that, I think.
Is it in the PUBG universe because Glenn Schofield wants money from PUBG and he's like, it's in the PUBG universe, really? Anyway, let's just make some Dead Space.
Yeah, maybe it'll have
that seems to be the case.
Either way, someone somewhere gave them some money to make a new Dead Space, and that's all right by me. Dead Space.
I love Dead Space.
Yeah. Oh Jesus. Yeah. You know, still looks incredible. That especially that opening sequence. Oh man. For me personally, the Disco Elysium update was incredibly exciting. I love Disco Elysium, and it's got voice acting. Now, what I think is really interesting about this is, I don't know, like this, unless you played it, you won't really sort of know this, but this game is like a book. You're reading a hell of a lot of text on your screen. Just reading. There's a little bit of voice acting in it, but it's mainly reading. And you know, when you read, you know, you imagine the characters sound, how they might sound in your head, right? You know, like you spend a lot of time with a book reading something, in this case with a game. You sort of like imagine what they might sound like. Now they're getting voice acting. I'm like, yes, voice acting, Disco Elysium, plus some other stuff. This sounds great. But also I'm like, I've got an idea of how these people sound in my head. And if it's like nothing like, it could just be quite annoying or upsetting or something, I'll love it. Disco Elysium's fantastic. This is going to be great. And the second one, and you know, talking of nerds, Warhammer 40K Dark Tide. Now I know how that sounds, but I'm telling you guys, this is the secret best game at the Game Awards. This is a first-person co-op Warhammer 40K game, basically about the Inquisition. So you're not a space marine, which is very refreshing. the actual proper Inquisition, Tom.
Dragon Age.
And it's made by the people who made Vermintide, which is a fantastic Warhammer, the fantasy Warhammer first-person co-op game. This game looks wicked. And Emma, since you're looking for something to like about the show, I'll rope you into my Dark Tide squad. When this game comes out.
I don't know if I want to be part of that.
Less excited.
You can shoot people with lasers, Emma. Lasers.
I could probably do that in Cyberpunk. I don't know.
Lasers, like that Star Wars that you like.
This will run at 60 frames a second, though. So, okay, so 2020 is coming to an end. Thank fuck. And we're going to start winding down for Christmas. Tom, this is your last newscast of the year, am I correct?
It is, yeah. This is almost the end of 2020 in video games for me, which was kind of fun to do the Game Awards last night and just cap it all off and get a little glimpse of where we're headed. And I hope 2021 is better, not only for video games, but just generally. I think it'd be nice.
Be nice to see you all again for a drink or something. Thinking of 2021 briefly, what game are you most looking forward to? What have you got your eye on? Anything standing out for you that you know about?
I mean, I don't want to go on a rant about how literally there are no games set for 2021 that I'm interested in because everything's still so vague. But Breath of the Wild 2, if it comes out next year. It will come out next year. Breath of the Wild 2. Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, I guess there were some people who were hoping that would show up at Game Awards, right?
Nintendo had a very light showing last night. It was weird.
Yeah, well, now Reggie's presenting rather than showing. You know, Jeff doesn't have his buddy to give him all the juicy goss. So
I do wonder if that's because like Microsoft and Sony have had their next gen moment, and maybe not Nintendo is getting ready for its own. And ahead of that, why show Breath of the Wild 2 on hardware that you're soon going to replace? Just your thought?
Okay. Emma, please tell me there is something in your life relating to video games that you are vaguely excited about. Just a little bit. That's all I'm after. Just a tiny little bit of excitement.
I don't know. Not really.
All right, forget about the Game Awards. Anything at all coming out.
I'm just trying to think what's coming out next year, and it's like Halo. I'm excited to see the drama surrounding Halo and what
spoken
happens.
like a true video game reporter.
I just love the drama. What can I say?
Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Wow. So you're going to be playing Cyberpunk for 12 months then? That's
yeah,
good.
Basically. We're getting into the mods, so yeah.
Oh god, mods! Holy shit! I hadn't even thought of that. Oh my god.
Yeah, people are already digging into it. I'm in the Discords and looking at Nexus mods, and it's already happening.
Right? Really?
Yeah, they're just basic stuff to start, but
there were
just basic stuff to start, like reshades and like field of view sliders. But maybe someone should make a mod to get rid of those like epilepsy seizure-inducing scenes. If someone could do that before CD Projekt, be useful.
Oh shit, Emma, you're all right. Okay. Thank you very much for your time, guys. I really appreciate it. Tom, if people want to know which galaxy the next Mass Effect is set in, where should they follow you on Twitter?
It's at Tom Phillips EG.
And Emma, for people who hate video games,
yeah.
Where should they follow you on Twitter?
Yeah, try and convince me to be excited about a video game at GoneEFK.
Lovely. And I am at WYP100. Thanks very much, guys. Bye.